This video contains complete spoilers for The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. It is strongly recommended that you watch only if you have completed both games.
No one was left who could remember how it had happened. How the world had fallen under darkness. At least no one who would do anything.
On the night of his birthday in 2013, Joel Miller suffered inconceivable loss. His daughter, Sarah, was claimed as collateral in the collapse of modern society. 20 years onward, the world remains stagnant as Joel bitterly wallows in its pointlessness while succumbing to its violent necessity. This stagnation is the principal conflict of The Last of Us. Disdainful refusal to accept loss and move on sits at the core of our characters and their world. Joel is a man who has not only lost his purpose in life, but actively rejects the idea of finding new purpose. This is shown very early on through his reticence toward the job of escorting Ellie, a job he reluctantly perseveres through only out of respect for Tess's dying wish. Over the course of the next year, Joel gradually develops a fatherly bond with Ellie, but he indulges in this familiar comfort only while it remains unspoken. When confronted openly about using her as a surrogate for his daughter, he recoils in abject disgust at the notion. Yet afterward, he promptly retakes his position as her escort in an act of voiceless apology that resonates of sincerity but rings ultimately hollow. By the game's end, Joel has contented himself with this consolatory replacement for the life he had long since lost. This respite lasts but a moment. Upon reaching their destination, Joel learns that the goal they had set out to accomplish and the life he had reclaimed cannot coexist. Joel murders the only doctor capable of developing a cure and escapes with Ellie unconscious in his arms. When asked what happened, he lies to her, and she says, "Okay." She knows he lied. He probably knows she knows. He is content. But this video isn't about Joel. It's not even about The Last of Us 1. This is about Ellie's pain, and how she deals with it. Over the years, she lives that lie, but the nagging uncertainty grows. One day, that festering feeling overtakes her, and she returns to the hospital. There, she finds exactly what she expects, and the awaiting Joel outside confirms it all. She breaks, and her relationship with him breaks along with it. Years pass, and she silently starts to accept these things that have happened. She grows to appreciate the silver lining of her continued existence, and even starts to understand that what Joel did may have genuinely been done out of good intent. She confronts him as he drinks coffee on the porch at night, and admits that she would like to try to forgive him. Then Abby beats him to death with a golf club. Obviously, there's some time between these two events, but not at all enough. As Joel lies lifeless, that opportunity for her to heal bleeds out onto the floor, replaced by a fresh new trauma. This is the tragedy of Part 2. Not the death of Joel, but the death of the opportunity. So Ellie seeks revenge. You know from the beginning this won't end well. The game spends hours and hours showcasing how misguided her mission is. Dina and Tommy and Jesse and you keep begging her to stop, but she can't. She never learned how, and Joel never taught her. He taught her how to swim and how to play guitar, but he never taught her how to move on. Because he never did it himself. And neither did Abby. Abby obsessed over the death of her father, the doctor, and the man responsible. She is, in every way, a reflection of Ellie, and her role in this story is to showcase the complexity of circumstance. This game isn't trying to tell you anything simple, like revenge is bad, or Joel was evil, or Abby did nothing wrong. These ideas betray the complexity of people's lives because they are all partially true and not true. So the game makes you play as Abby and live in her shoes for far longer than anyone probably wanted to, until it really hammers home the idea that people's lives and the world are complex, intricate things that aren't solvable with simple, broad ideas. And neither is your pain. There is no simple solution to healing. Killing Abby wouldn't have fixed things. Neither would immediate, unquestioning forgiveness. Ellie was right to be angry. She was right to want justice and answers, but she viewed these things as a mandatory solution. She thought she couldn't heal as long as Abby got away. And she was wrong. Life is made of two things. Things that happen to you and how you respond to them. You can control only the latter. Ellie was so fixated on Abby, she never realized that she was the one keeping her wound open. The first step to healing is to allow yourself to heal. By the time she and Dina are living on the farm, it seems as if she's moved on, but she hasn't. Not because of the flashbacks or Tommy's prodding, but because she never chose to. She never learned how. She was just living in the absence of what she still and always saw as the solution. When the opportunity presented itself to find Abby again, she couldn't ignore it. She leaves, and the Ellie she could have been is gone forever. Ellie finds Abby on the beach. By this point, Abby has already come to understand what Ellie hasn't. But Ellie forces her to fight. She indulges in all her anger and hatred, plunging into the depths of her own wound. It is in the midst of the rain and blood and severed fingers, she finally sees that all she can accomplish this way is her own death. She stops. Abby leaves. It's over. Ellie sits on the beach alone with her obsession, bitterly wallowing in its pointlessness, having succumbed to its violent necessity. She returns to the house to find it barren, save for one room serving as a memorial to the Ellie that died here. She picks up the guitar he gave her, hoping to find comfort in his song, but the notes ring harsh in the absence of fingers. In a previous life, in a previous farmhouse, she lamented that everyone she had ever cared about had either died or left her, all except for him. It is now everyone. She sets the guitar aside and leaves. Her only solace is that she's still alive, which swallows as a single sweet pill washed down with a pot of black coffee, the caffeine keeping one going well past their will to continue. At least she can still swim. Thanks for watching.